I need to do. Okay, we're recording. So what I want to do is I want to help you with establishing a morning routine that is giving you intention, because a lot of us get in the habit of just doing self-development to do self-development. Oh, let's pour into ourselves. Because that's what our leaders do. Or maybe that's what I know I need to do. But are you soaking the knowledge in and then implementing? So what I do every morning, and I'm just going to go through a quick thing, and then we're going to go do IPAs and kind of go back and forth. I'm also going to help you guys with opportunity stories as well. So that's the two things I'm going to focus on today, because you guys, these things and setting the intention for, like, for example, the intention of this work with me today is to do things different than that we always see. My intention for this work with me is to help you guys in areas get uncomfortable with being uncomfortable. Okay, so by stretching you in maybe your morning routine, which sets up the actions for your day and the clarity to your day, help you predict the vibe and the energy and the mindset that you bring to your every single day. Okay, so that's why I'm going to focus on morning routine real quick, and then we're going to do some income producing activities together. And I'm also going to help you guys create an opportunity story tonight, because this is one thing that I don't see enough of. I see us do a lot of before and afters, a lot of us showing our life, which is all perfect. And you definitely should be showing these things consistently, your 3 steps, your day-to-day life, whatever it may be, your self-development, but also like making sure you're being intentional with the business side of things and what this can do for someone, that lifeboat of hope. And so I know sometimes the thing that I hear from my girls and even my newer girls is, how do I do an opportunity story if I'm not fully there yet, or if I'm brand new, or if I'm growing, or if I'm learning? So I'm going to take you back to my basics on what I did when I first started, and really building that momentum to build your story where people maybe need to hear you and where you're at. So I have this awesome notebook. It's by the Bliss Collection on Amazon. It was like $9. I'll give you guys the link. I use this one because it's cute, and it checks me right in the morning. So this is the one that I chose. I go through and I do everything that I need in this. I write my IPAs down. Before I was doing it on my phone and writing down the IPAs, I'm a pen to paper person. I soak it in a lot better. Even when I'm doing my self-development and I'm listening to a podcast, or I'm listening to an Audible, or even a motivational YouTube, I am taking notes. This is what helps me create content around my brand. My brand is mindset and the belief in you, building the belief in you. That's part of my brand. Like, my brand is because of my podcast. I love helping women and men find their inner potential and their inner strength to be able to overcome anything that they hold themselves back on, because it's just a recreation of your limitations and your mindset. So for me, what I do is I have to have intention going into my every single day morning. So writing down what that may be. Maybe, so for me, self-development, prayer time, get ready, work with me, done all these things, check, check. I'm doing auto bonus content today, so I'm focusing on talking about auto bonus. I write that down. I know what content I want to talk about. Okay. I did another post this morning about stacking thoughts, stacking your behaviors, stacking your mindset. That was my post earlier this morning, and I posted it on both platforms. If you are posting only to one platform, you're doing yourself a disservice. So make sure you're posting to both platforms. You don't have to do the exact same post and the exact same content on both. You can switch it up. So what I do, and this is going to be an income producing activity I can help you guys with. Let's say I posted on Instagram yesterday some type of picture, and it had like a caption that I made. And then on Facebook, I go in and I use something that I was going to create that morning. So I kind of like switch it up. I cycle my content so that I'm not having to overwork myself, if that makes sense. So like the post I did last night, I can use over on Instagram that I used on Facebook. Does that make sense? I can move it to the next day and use that over on my other platform that I didn't show that content on. So it allows me to still use both platforms but with different content, maybe that I had used on Facebook that my audience on Facebook saw yesterday, but on Instagram, they're seeing it today. Just to help a little bit, that's a tip that I love doing, because I'm still building my content every day, but I'm just making it intentional with not having to do it on both platforms and then having to come up with things every single day that I could be able to work a little smarter, not harder, and be using that good content that I put so much heart in, cycling it to the next platform, if that makes sense. So that's something I do. I am very intentional with my chats. I do not have any of my chats on notifications. I have them all muted. I only go in specific times throughout the day and check on my team chats and my team, my messages. 80% of your business should be business growing, growing your business. And this is from Get Over Your Damn Self. In that book that I read back in January, we did a book club on it. If you weren't a part of the team then, it's an amazing, amazing book, and it's specifically for network marketers, but it really helps us overcome those limits, those beliefs, giving us self-grace, but business tips as well. It's called Get Over Your Damn Self. It's by Romy, I forget her news, I can't ever pronounce her last name. Super good. But how she talks about it is 80% of your business should be on business building skills, income producing activities, getting to know your audience, connecting to your friendships, building friendships. We're in a networking business, so networking is building friendships, building value to people, connecting with people. That's why when people are like, well, what do you say in conversations? I'm like, how do you talk to your mom? How do you talk to your best friend? How do you talk to your spouse? I always say team human, team human, team human. Are you going in with the intent to sell someone, or are you going into the intent to get to know someone? So those are things like in conversations with my business building tips. 80% of my business is me growing my business. 10% of my business is me pouring into my downline and growing my downline and focusing on connecting with them. So one-on-one, scheduling potential call, three-way chats, checking in with them, helping them, DMOs. And then that other 10% is self-development. I'm always big on self-development. Honestly, it's what makes the business grow, is you growing yourself. Your business, I feel, gets that, if you're in a place where you're trying to find that pivotal moment of how to pivot to the next level, or how to pivot out of this obstacle you're going through, start with growing yourself. If you want to see results in your business, your mindset, your personal life, your financial life, whatever it may be, it honestly starts with what goes on between your 2 ears. That's the thing about it, is it's all about really going in and being intentional with being intentional with yourself, because you can't pour from an empty cup. So if you haven't done self-development this morning, please hop off this. You don't need to be listening to me chat right now. You need to be pouring into your mind and reprogramming what goes on in here. So I tell my girls, if I see any type of negativity in my chat or anything like that, I check that, because I don't mess with that. I don't rock with negativity. So what happens is, if you're in a negative frame of mind, I ask yourself, what have you done to reprogram that thought pattern right now? Sorry, my dogs are fighting. Because what happens is, that's where we're missing, is the reprogramming part. What happens is it takes consistency in checking what goes on up here. So if you find yourself in a lack mindset or talking negatively over yourself, that energy, what is going on? Sorry, it keeps, I don't know who's trying to log into Lindsay's thing, but it keeps doing it. But the thing about it is, that moment that you're allowing that stinking thinking is the moment that you need to be reversing the pattern of what you're allowing. So that's why I'm super intentional with my mindset stuff. Because honestly, it's what has launched me to who I am and where I'm going. It's how I grow through what I go through, is understanding my truths versus my emotions. Because if you can separate those two and start showing up with intention and clarity for your day, it helps you be able to have that inspired action. That's why I'm talking about this right now, because a lot of us get in the motion of hopping on our phone. I know I'm so guilty of this. Who hops on their phone before doing their self-development and like goes and checks the chat or goes on social media or starts scrolling or starts whatever? Even me, I was justifying, hey, I go to my Bible app, which is on my phone, but then I would get distracted. Duh, it doesn't work. So I want you to set a consistency with yourself to not touch your phone. If your phone's your alarm clock in the morning, get a new alarm. Get like a regular alarm that you can get on Amazon and have next to your bed, and put your phone in the bathroom where you're not going to touch it the first thing in the morning. That is something I had to do. So that is an income producing activity to me, because guess what? It's setting my intention for the day. Because me, I'll get mindlessly trapped in this bad boy and in the chats and in all the things and getting over, and I can immediately screw up my mind by going into here and pouring into this first before pouring into me. So I want to help you with that income producing activity, because if you can go into intention for yourself, it will trickle into the actions that are inspired by your mindset and your beliefs. Okay? So now that we've kind of set up like a little bit of our mindset blocks and stuff, what I also want you guys to start doing that really helps is writing down your income producing activities. Maybe there's ones that like you haven't been doing consistently. Me, birthdays, sometimes I forget, being honest. So one I have every single day is me doing birthdays, like non-negotiable. Birthdays are a non-negotiable. Other thing was intentionally growing my network. So what I do is, like how I've kind of gone over in our previous like work with me's, I kind of kill two birds with one stone. I can't ever talk. It's not a thing for me. This is why. So what I do with killing two birds with one stone is I go over to Instagram. I always start with Instagram first. I go to my following. If you click my following, you're going to see all the people that you follow. You're going to see at the top underneath categories right here, it's going to say least interacted with. At least it should. And especially if you, I don't know, I could be wrong, I'm not good on this. If you don't have a content creator account, I believe it still shows. I have a content creator account on Instagram. So, and Lindsay and I have talked about those a few times, so I don't want to go into that. But I click least interacted with, and I start going through their Instagram and seeing if I can relate to them in my brand. And people are like, well, what do you mean by relating to your brand? What are your 5 things? Like Lindsay has a very good analogy that I do love. Like if you're a vegan and you're talking like having vegans on your like page and you're like, oh, this hamburger is so good. But then the other day you were talking about how good that like plant-based smoothie with all the, I don't know, if my brother's vegan, I can maybe get like a recipe from him, but like connecting to people that don't connect with you genuinely sometimes can create a division on how you converse with them. So that's why it's important to have people that do align. Like I have tons of moms, boy moms especially, because that's something that I relate to. Me though, I used to use like, well, my son's 12 years old. I don't have babies, so I can't really connect with those type of people. So for me, I follow like teen moms. I'll search hashtags like teen moms, or search hashtags that are like boy teen mom or teen mom problems or whatever, because that's a thing. Like teen moms are no joke. If you have a teenager, I know you know what I'm talking about. I was not equipped for this. So being a part of groups that help you connect to people that are going through things like you. So when it goes to my like people and I'm going through their profile, I go through each person and I look over their Instagram. And then I either unfollow or engage. Do you see how that it's like doing 3 things at once? I don't know if that helps you kind of minimize your IPAs, but if you think about it, we're always telling you to be intentional with growing your network, correct? So growing my network, I truly like to unfollow and follow and engage at the same time if I can, because it's allowing me to be more intentional. So I do that because it really, especially with the least interacted, it sets that intention. It gets your name back into their like timeline, helps you start connecting with people that maybe you haven't connected with in a while, and set the tone for building up that like conversations. The other thing that I do, if you have not posted this to your stories, I always post my work with me's to my stories. Always. Like anytime I'm on a training or I'm watching a training, I love angles. I'm all about aesthetics. I can't ever say that word, so it's really hard. The aesthetics of things. And what I mean by that is like, and you guys can go look at my story, but I'm taking an angle of this Zoom and it's barely showing like the team vibe, but it has like that good angle that really helps eye captivating content. Within your first like 5 seconds, that visual appeal is super, super important. So now that I shared that, I love this is happening. Hang on. I figured it out. Like, when. So I'm like, oh, I am not technically like, you guys, if you're like, well, I'm not good with technology, neither am I. So don't let that be your limit. You know what I mean? If you're creating that as your constant limit, well, I'm not good at technology. No, you're just not willing to get uncomfortable with learning technology. That's what I tell myself. So what I'm going to do with you guys now is I am going to help you guys make an opportunity story. And the reason why I want to focus on this is because I truly feel like this is an area that I have seen so much growth within my business when I'm putting it like in an intention throughout my at least week. Like like Lindsay's all about doing an opportunity story like every single day in a different way that like layers into your brand. And I love that. So what I personally do is I will do like product one day, opportunity the next. So I kind of go back and forth. Like if I'm showing like before and afters and like talking about the products and talking about what they do, and I'm showing like in my stories more of my like before and afters for the day, the next day I'm going to do more opportunity stories, if that makes sense. I go back and forth with my content like that because I like to be intentional with both customers and promoters. I'm very promoter heavy because that's just my strength is enrollments with promoters. So one of my goals for 2020 is to be very intentional with getting uncomfortable with making sure I'm building content for my customers. So sorry, I'm trying not to burp in your guys' ear. So the other thing is, I really like to dissect my layers. I love how this is recorded. I always forget this. I like to build layers upon my fives. So fives around product, for example, there's so many ways you can build around products. You don't have to just talk about the energy that it brings you or how amazing it makes you feel. You can dissect each product, if that makes sense. So for example, like M had done, where she challenged us to go live or talk about products that we haven't talked about in a while. So for example, I did skin yesterday. I focused on more of CBD skincare, more of our skincare side. I'm a retired esthetician. I don't know why I don't talk about it more because our CBD skincare is the best thing ever. I'm obsessed with it. So the thing about it is I was very intentional with talking about that yesterday for my stories. It was skincare focused, okay? So today, if I wanted to talk about products, I still show my 3 steps in my stories every single day. That doesn't change. That is always in my stories in some type of way. For example, yesterday I did a workout, so I talked about that. I talked about different parts of my brand in my stories as well as in my content. So with the stories now today, what I'm going to do is talk about the opportunity. And then tonight, I will put in a product post, but I'm going to talk about my nighttime routine, which is recharge and balance. So I'm still being intentional with my opportunity stories and making that the focal of my content for the day in my stories, as well as showing my day-to-day, which I do. But I have a theme is how I break it down for my brain, just because I'm super ADD and I like to be intentional with that clarity of what I'm doing for the day. So what I do is I'm like, okay, so for today, my intention is to talk about the business side of things, my opportunity side of things with the business. So what I'm talking about in my stories is payday and auto bonus. Auto bonuses today as well. We get them on the second payday of every month or second Tuesday of every month. So what happens is I'm going to go in Because if you search the team page, you can type in auto bonus earners or 12K, for example. There's all kinds of pictures in our team pages, or you can ask like leadership to send you pictures of them with their car. So what I'm doing is my opportunity story is not going to be just like about my brand, like about my business and all that. It's going to be strictly focused on this auto bonus part of the business. Do you see how there's like layers? I look at our business as onion, like an onion. There's so many layers you can peel from. If I wanted to talk about weekly Tuesday pay, I can talk about weekly Tuesday pay. If I wanted to talk about running our business for free and how we get to have product credit every single month, we don't have to spend money to make money. That is an opportunity in itself. No charting, no website fees, no auto ship requirements, 3 paid for like vacations a year. That can be an opportunity in itself. And how you do that is like, if you haven't earned these things, I'm going to start there. So I use Unfold. I use Over. These are the 2 apps I use for my stories. Or if I don't feel like doing all that, I'll just use pictures that I've edited and just make them on my Instagram with just the Instagram typing words, all the easiness. It doesn't have to be like so like put together. It just has to be done. So for me, why I like Unfold is because you can save it in sections. So in my Unfold, I have different sections for different things. So for example, auto bonus. I have a whole auto bonus story that I've done before. So what I'll do, because this is an older one, I'm going to clean it up because honestly, it helps me being intentional and get inspired. Or if you haven't ever done one, let's walk you through this. So you can do a picture of the car that you want. You could go to Pinterest, for example. And I'm not a Pinterest go to picture and use Pinterest pictures. I don't like doing that. But what I do like to do is get inspired action for my stories. And let's say you haven't earned your auto bonus. There's no reason you can't connect your vision to where you're going to that. So what is your dream car? What's that dream car that you envision driving in? What does it look like when you have your hand on the steering wheel? How does it feel driving in that car when you're like, oh my goodness, I made this happen. I am in a payment-free vehicle, whether that be your current car or the dream car you've always wanted. Maybe it's a Mercedes, I don't know. And maybe you've just pulled out of the parking lot after hitting 12K, going and getting your brand new car, and that feeling that you would feel when you're driving in it. How does that feel? Imagine it in your mind. I want you to write that down. That's where you connect your vision with your brand and what you're putting out, you guys. So for me, when I first started this business, I would make stories like this. And what I would do is I would take my dream car. I'll walk you through what I do. I would take my dream car and use it as the main background picture in my background to start out my story with, okay? So it can, let's say it's a Range Rover. It could be like a cool picture you use as the background in your as a Range Rover or whatever. And then for what I started this story out with, I said, what would it look like for you to eliminate your car payment and its expenses every month? The reason why is because I connected you to how it made you feel and how it made you feel once you achieved that and how you envisioned that being once you pulled out of that parking lot, right? So now let's break that down to help someone feel the same thing. Does that make sense a little bit? Like when I have a hard time with stories, I do this and connecting to the content. This is why oh God, my dogs are gonna bark. One second. Sorry guys, I have 4 dogs and it's not okay. So the reason I do this is connecting that content brings people to you and keeps them coming back. And how you do that is by serving. So for example, we all know our auto, like car payments are, I mean, if you have a paid off vehicle, super proud of you. That is amazing. But there's still expenses. There's still like, hey, if something goes wrong, you have to pay for a tire, an oil change, whatever. It's still a very expensive necessity in our life. Our car payments for my household before this business were the highest bill besides my mortgage. And I know for a lot of you, that's the case, right? It's usually one of the highest bills in your household, these dogs. So if I can help someone first feel that, because I can relate to that, right? That's the most expensive car payment in their house. If I can help someone feel that and then overcome what could be on the other side with just hope, that's what I like to do. I like to build that vision. So even though when I first started this business, I hadn't earned that yet, what I did was I vision casted it out. I acted as if I already did. I talked about it as if I was already going to be earning that. Because you know what happened? I believed I could. When you believe you can, you can. If you believe you can't, you can't. So the reason why I would build stories on that is because my belief of where I was going was so big that nothing or no one would get in the way. And I knew if I could help someone along that journey that's going through the same thing that I was struggling with, I couldn't even afford my car payment when I first started this business. I was about to self-repossess my car because I couldn't afford it. So I talk about that in my stories. So the first slide is second most expensive bills in the household. It has like a little question mark on the Unfold story. It's a template that Unfold has, and it's like a little like search box. That's what I put in that, as if someone was searching this. And I'll put this story on my Instagram today so you guys can kind of look through it too, if you need like some inspo or anything like that. And then I put like, what would it look like if you eliminated that most expensive car payment? And then the second slide, I talked about how I was upside down in my 2015 Dodge Journey. I paint that picture. I use feel, felt, found. So feeling with what I was going through, relating to what I've overcome, I couldn't afford my car payment. That's what it was. So helping someone know they're not alone, because sometimes a lot of people are struggling with those things too, and they're embarrassed to talk about it, or they're embarrassed to like even bring it up. So I built that by showing my vulnerability. Vulnerabilities are your superpowers. I couldn't afford my car payment either, babe. And that is why I kept watching my upline as she earned her Mercedes. And it was like, I could do that too. So I said, before 2 years ago, I couldn't even afford my 2015 Dodge Journey. And then it has a picture of my Dodge Journey. It can be an old picture. And then from there, I wrote out, I used to stress every single month between car payments, auto insurance, gas, upkeeps, the bills kept coming in. That's my next slide. Do you see how I'm using feel, felt, found throughout the story to kind of build that kind of story? It's not about making it overcomplicated. It's just about breaking it down in pieces. It really helps my mind to understand how to build an opportunity story when I can break it down in little pieces for myself. And I use those pieces as each slide, if that helps. So then how amazing. And then for like this picture, I use it as when I was going 12K, I would put a picture of like the business or myself or whatever, and then I would put the vision of what I wanted, like the car that I wanted or whatever underneath. And I said, how amazing that the second rank in our company, second, not 10th, not 100, well, not that there's 100 levels in other companies, but like not 6,000 levels, I'll just do that because that's a thing. In a company, it's our second rank. So that's a bullet point in our business. I pull from our bullet points. Second rank in our company is our auto bonus. You get to pick out a luxury vehicle that's paid for or have in a car allowance. I use those two wording because, and then I can be like, you can pick from it. You can even break down what we pick from. Trucks, Lexus, Cadillac, BMW, Mercedes, Tesla, Audi, and there's so many, I could keep going, but like I use those as part of my story. That's one slide. And then when you go over, now I say, there's no reason you can't either. Look at all these babes that have earned theirs. And then what I have is a collage on each slide of people that have earned their auto bonuses. So just because I hadn't earned mine doesn't mean I can't talk about it. And that's what I would do is I would talk about it. I would be like, I cannot wait for my I cannot wait to eliminate this car payment for my household. I cannot wait until I'm driving off the parking lot with my brand new Mercedes. What stops you? And then do a poll. It doesn't have to be like overcomplicated. It doesn't have to be like anything that's not that doesn't like align with you. It can be in the vision of where you believe you're going. So I know this is like so like not a work with me where I like break down every little thing, but I wanted to do things very differently on this because I want you guys to know that we can do all the motions together, and I can help you do all the motions together and do all the income producing activities, because honestly, they all come down to being the same. But what makes them different is you being you in them. What makes them different is you just showing up for them. So I know a lot of people don't do opportunity stories because they don't know what to talk about. They don't know what to like talk about because they haven't achieved it, or maybe you're brand new. If you're brand new, let's talk about another way you can do it. Let me go to a different opportunity story that I have. So I use Unfold a lot. Honestly, I came from a previous company, so that's something I talked about at the beginning of my business. I was always told that the grass wasn't greener on the other side. I was always told that I'm going to fail if I ever leave somewhere else because no comp plan is like or the company I was with before. I was always like scared into staying. That was just honestly in my previous company, that's what I kind of went through it. So I have like PTSD from it. So like when I was brand new, it was really hard for me to connect with the authentic attraction marketing aspect that we do versus the spammy, cold messagey way of doing things. So I use that as a layer of my opportunity, and I dissected it. So I have an opportunity story that says, I used to be a network company that drained me, my bank account, my energy, my passion. The outside looked like it was together, but didn't see the constant struggle to maintain, force auditorship, spend money to make money, and losing bonuses. And I'm just giving you guys examples of how I break down opportunity stories. It doesn't have to be like every little thing, but I had a picture of when I earned my double diamond bonus when I was with my other company. That bonus went away. That's something we don't deal with over here. We get our bonuses every single month because of our hard work. We don't lose them and then never get them back. That's a super cool thing, and I talk about that. So this was a back in fall, so I haven't updated this one, but I don't know if you guys can see, but I have like a picture of like some fall presets. And then when I was in New York, I like a leaf in front of my face. I love tying in like aesthetics and like quality pictures in my Unfold stories. So I said, I signed up to make money from my phone, but even with promoting to higher rank, I was spending more money in the end that didn't add up to me. I was spending money on website fees, buying products, forced autoships, and trying to maintain ranks. It wasn't smart and it didn't align with my integrity. So how I did this though, because I know sometimes it's really hard to figure out what to write on each story, and maybe that's an area that you're needing help with, write it in your notes and then write it like as like an actual like long story, like write it from your heart, and then take each paragraph and use that as one slide, one slide, one slide, one slide. Does that make sense too? Because that can be hard sometimes to fill content like that. So if I can just make a cool little story real quick and then use each paragraph as a slide, it allows me to knock that out as well. So then I talk about how, I found something that could talk with my integrity. I talked about how the investment that I only spent was at the beginning. We have the amazing thing about our business is when we start, we don't have to spend money to make money. And that one time I paid for product was when I first started, and that investment there. And then I talk about, I screen record a lot of things, you guys. If you want to know how like leaders have like the videos in their slides or in their stories, you screen record. Screen record's a lifesaver. So when we get free product every month, or let's say when we have commissions come through and you see us like posting like the screen record of it, it shows so much more community. So for example, right here, I have a picture of the product and it says we run our business for free every month with, and then I go over the bullet points there, and it's a screen record of the conversations of everyone that has sent in the chat the product credits that they have earned. There is a thread even on our team pages right now. If you've hit like product credit for the month, like what you earned for May or what you had earned for April, you can screen record all the comments in there too and use that as a story and shows people everyone winning on our team. That also builds content. Then from this, what I break it down is to my story. I'm a 29-year-old mom that was no different than you, that was sick of struggling to struggle and get by to get by. I was sick of being paycheck to paycheck. That's one slide. You know, I used to be that girl that was scared of walking away from what I was doing. I used to be that girl that would hold myself back from my limitations. So breaking each thing down to help you build that story. I said I grew, I changed, I found a company that I can stand behind with integrity, empowers women, and actually grows their business the right way through attraction marketing and serving others. Just little slides. These are each little slide. And then what would you do in a year if you had no limitations on yourself? That thought you had just now, you can do it. Takes 5 seconds of insane courage. And then I do a call to action is what I call it. I'm trying to show you. 1 second. My call to action post is going to be like our big bullet points of our business. So where it's like no cold mess. Oh, here, Wi-Fi wealth is what I have this one labeled by. And it says like work from anywhere, no auto ships, no forced spending, paid weekly, no cold messaging, mentoring by me, running your business for free every month, car bonus, lifestyle getaways, free product, check matching. Those are some bullet points that I like to list in my story to show people what we have our hands on. And then what I'll do after is I'll just do like a picture, and you can put a poll right here. It doesn't have to, it could be like a quote even. It doesn't have to be like the last slide that I use is usually something that's powerful. It could be like a picture that's just really pretty with a poll. It could be a word, a caption, it can be whatever. So that's how I like to do my opportunity stories. It's very different. I break them down in like sections to just really build on that content, because I don't want to just always talk about the same thing over and over and over and talk about me. Like, honestly, I try to not put content out there that's always like me, but showing people that you, like you could do this too. You can make these changes. You can grow from whatever you've gone through. So that's why I like to show my feel, felt, found, which is what I've gone through, how I've overcome it, and feeling your way to understanding you can overcome it too with my help. Does that make sense? I hope that does. I know I talk so much. I'm sorry, you guys. Okay, I'm glad this is helping because I really wanted to break this down. If you guys have questions, I can do like the last 10 minutes too, with any questions you guys might have on just randomness too, because I definitely know that this is an area that we all I always am telling my new girls, the things that you're avoiding are the things that you need to be doing. So if there's something inside your mind that's like, oh, I need to unfollow, or I need to maybe stop. If you're like a 4K, 12K leader and you're trying to get your girls to work, lead by example. Like those things, like don't focus on making people show up. You can't make people show up for themselves. You can lead by example. So like leadership tips, growth tips, all these things are income producing activities, you guys. Income producing activities to me aren't just what we do to build our business. It's what we do to grow ourselves. Because guess what? If I'm my best self, I'm going to be reflecting that back and attracting that back and serving people. And guess what? It's reflecting in my income because I'm serving others. That's what it's about. So if I can help connect these things to people and help see, hey, I'm a human too. We all have struggles. We all go through things. So the content that I build is focused on what makes me me. I really like the post that I did today. one of the quotes that I love to hold on to is, a flower doesn't compare itself and say, hey, this flower has more petals and this one has more pink colors on it and this one and this one. No, it just freaking blooms. It looks up and blooms and takes all the fresh air in and all the water. See how water is so important. This is why we tell you to drink your water, your flower. Like, so hold that, like, believe in you, grow you. And I'm telling you, like, if you're looking for the missing piece, like sometimes we're like, what's the missing piece to this business? What am I doing wrong? What am I not doing enough in? What about my, like, all the shoulda, woulda, couldas, what ifs? You want to know what your answer is? You. Ha, solved all your problems. It's you. And I don't know how much more clear to make that, but it's you. If you're avoiding, okay, I hate getting it. I always go to mindset. I don't want to go to mindset. So like, because I always, that's my go-to, because that's what's built me. And if I can help you understand, like, your income producing activities, if you're just going through them to go through them, to do them for the day, to grow your business, girl, there's going to be a division. You want to know why? Are you showing up for you and your vulnerabilities and your heart and your things that you're trying to overcome, and then helping someone through that? As a leader, my biggest thing is, leadership is hard. And so if I can show people that it's okay to not have that comfort zone, how society has put us to, like, be like, when we're going through things, we need to boss up and toughen up. And that was my motto forever. You guys know me. If you know me, you don't, or you're new, hi, hello. That's like how I've always been, is like, when I'm going through things, my defense mechanism is to be strong, to come off tough, to come off like I have everything put together, to come off like not everything is bothering me, or the way, like, or I'm going through things. The one thing I had to start learning as a person and as a leader, as a person that has people that look up to me, like all of you do, if you are not, it's not about a rank. The moment you enter this business, you're a leader. There's people that are inspired by you just by being you. And if that makes you uncomfortable, good. Greatness doesn't come from comfort zones. So you're a leader. How would you want to be led? How would you want to show up? Would you hire you or would you fire you? You are the CEO of your life in this, and what you think is what you get back. That is why I always am very intentional with what goes on in here. There is things that I was realizing like a couple months ago when I was doing my income producing activities, and I'm just going off on this mindset, so I apologize. But with my income producing activities, this is what I would be doing. I would be on my phone 11 hours a day throughout the day, not like straight, but collectively 11 hours was my average time. Straight up, I'm going to be very honest with you guys. I overworked myself to compensate for my anxiety. Because behind scenes, I was having anxiety. But in the front scenes, it shows up that I was just being super consistent. Right? Because you're going through all the motions and doing all the things, trying to perform for perfection, instead of just embracing the things you're going through and talking about them. We're not here to micromanage. We're not here to make you work your business. We're not here to make you have that vision and that ambition to show up. What we're here is to teach you that you can do it too. But you want to know how that starts is by you being you. And you want to know how you start being you and embracing you, owning your story for where you're at, owning your struggles, owning your weaknesses as strengths, owning your grace, and owning your vulnerabilities. Vulnerability is your superpower. So the reason I'm talking about this is my income producing activities connect to my vulnerabilities now. And then what I'm meaning by that is if I'm going through something, I am going to talk about it. I'm going to share about it. I'm going to talk about it with, and that doesn't mean it has to be in my content. It could even be conversations that I'm helping someone behind the scene with. Maybe there's a girl that's going through an abusive relationship. That's something I went through 5 years ago. I talk about that. Why would I hide from that? There's women out there that need that. I was an addict 10 years ago. I'm not shy to say that or embarrassed to say that because that mess built my message. That test was my testimony. I overcame that. And I'm going to talk about those things because there's women that need that. There's moms that are struggling with fertility right now. Honestly, and my girls that are in my leadership, they know this about me. This is the one area that I've been very hard to like talk about for me because I'm still going through it. Like my trying to conceive window was the last 6 years. So the last 6 years I've been trying to have a baby with my husband. And the thing about it is we've had 3 ectopic pregnancies and I lost my fallopian tube in 2018. 4 days later, I went 40K. I don't say that to like be like, you need to go through and work hard even when you're going through things. But what I'm saying is you need to show up in those vulnerabilities and help people through them as well. So now that I've healed from my fertility stuff and I'm healing still and like going through those things, I'm talking about it more. I'm sharing about it more. I'm talking about my plan of action more. And there's moms that I connect to behind the scenes that are going through the same things. I'm talking about my brand. So that's why I'm sharing this because that may not be you, but maybe there's areas that you haven't talked about. Maybe like for me, I had anger issues from like PTSD stuff that I've gone through. So talking about those anger issues, talking about that it's okay to face those things and not be hard on yourself, owning that content, because that content, you guys, I know that's such a vague word for deep, dark, like deep things that we talk about because I'm like, put good content out there. But that content, you guys, is my vulnerabilities. Branding brings people to you. Content keeps them coming back. So that content is my superpower, and that superpower starts with me connecting with me. It's not about people pleasing. Do people's opinions pay your bills? No. So why are you not posting that one thing that keeps going on your heart to post? My Instagram is purposely driven _ I'm like, put the little underscore die. I'm like, I don't know why I have it on there because it's super confusing half the time, but the underscore at the end. So I don't know. I just really wanted to kind of pour into you guys. Do you guys have any questions the last 10 minutes before I let you guys go? Or I can let you guys go early. I don't care. But I just wanted to see if there's anything else maybe that you're feeling like, and no question's a dumb question. So just FYI, if you have something that's maybe you're like, I need to know, but I'm scared to ask, you need to ask. The thing that you're avoiding is often the thing that you need to be doing. Always play that in the back of your mind. Because if I'm not doing something to get myself uncomfortable, maybe it's asking that scary question, then maybe that's what I need to be doing is asking that scary question because maybe that's that one little thing that I need to do to get to that aha moment that I'm blocking myself from. Your aha moments are your launching points. So the last 10 minutes, I'm going to let you guys go, but I want you guys to spend this 10 minutes building an opportunity story if you have not already. I want you to make this opportunity story. Maybe it's your vision. Maybe you are a 4K leader and you want to hit your 12K this month. Own it. Speak as if it's already happened and break it down into little chunks on your stories. Let's see. I've been trying to build back to 12K for like a year. Now should I talk about that? Yes. Those are things. Okay. And I'm going to talk about this really, really quick because I love that you asked that, Melissa, because that's something that I was embarrassed to talk about was when I built my husband in my account. So Nick's one of my strong legs underneath me. He has red legged me for a year, maybe more, because I've built his side so strong. So when I went 80K last year, guess who went 80K? Nick went 80K. My name didn't go 80K, my husband did, which was fine, but people quit over those things. People get discouraged over those things. People give up over these things. which is ridiculous for me because red legs are a blessing. If you ever have that, it's a blessing. It allows you to focus more intentionally on what you're doing and building you and building your business if you have a stronger side, period. So owning, if you don't understand it, we don't need to understand it right now. It's not something you need to worry about if you don't have it happen. If you have it happening, message me. That's how I look at it. There's no point of overthinking something that you're not going through on because it's going to end you in a downward spiral. So if you're going through this, message me so I can help you through it, but owning where you're at. So maybe you did, like Jen's a perfect example. She was a 40K leader and stopped working in her business for a very long time, like 5 months or something like that. And she talks about that now because it takes a lot of strength to come back. And it takes a lot of strength to overcome that part. So owning that, because there's women that are going through that too. I'm huge on talking about the uncomfortable parts. Let's see. Yes, Feel Felt Found is so amazing. It's how I do a lot of my posting, a lot of my all my conversations behind the scenes are using Feel Felt Found. And I talk about that in my conversation training that's in the Hustle and Thrive page. It breaks down exactly how I have like 4 parts to my conversations. None of my conversations are the same, but they have the same structure, the same like outline, if that makes sense. So it goes over that. How would I word something like that in an empowering way? I love that. So for me, I would go live about it, which is probably like, you were like, oh dang, even double whammy there. But like live, when there's a message on my heart that maybe sometimes I can't put it into words, my biggest thing is at the beginning of my business, all the way from here to 40K, lives have been my bread and butter to my vulnerabilities. And what I mean by that is, like, I remember I've had a few girls that found me just from seeing my live show up on Facebook some way. We weren't even friends on Facebook, but because of me going live, and I was like bawling, crying on some of them, which it's okay to cry on a live, it happens. I helped someone, and that someone got in my inbox because of that live. And so I really love, if you're going through things, maybe honestly, my husband had furlough go on for like his department, and 29 people got let go. And that is something that I know people are going through. Maybe your husband's going through that. Maybe you're going through that. Talk about it. Those are things that we have to connect to. It's not about selling someone, it's about serving someone. So that is the biggest thing I can tell you is, and I can tell you in a conversation right away, I can tell if someone's trying to be sold or if someone's trying to be served. That's why I never go in and answer people's questions like right away. I know we all do things differently. So don't, like, if that's not you, but for me, if someone's like, hey, what are your products do? What's your 3 steps do? I would be happy to answer your questions, but tell me a little bit about what you're I can't talk. What you're going through. I love how I just choked on my spit. That's the thing. I love, what was I talking about? Squirrel syndrome, you guys. But I say I love being able to answer questions and tell me a little bit more about what you're wanting to change. What are you going through right now? Like, what has you messaging me? And connecting to them, their goals, what they're going through, what they're wanting to overcome, because that could be so many things. And if I'm just answering their questions and like pitching the product, in a way is how I look at it, I'm not connecting to the value. So pitching is something I always take out of my conversations. I never go in explaining anything about business or product until I get to know what they're going through or what's going on with them. That's just me, but we all do things different. So maybe what works for you is like talking about that stuff, then that works. But also, last thing, and I'm letting you go, I promise. Don't overthink. Like, this is the biggest thing in the world that will make or break your business, is the overthinking. Do it scared, do it uncomfortable, do it anyways. Fail your way forward. If your live sucked, good. I'm glad it did, because guess what? You went live. So clap yourself on the back, because most people won't even push the button. So be proud that you pushed the button. If it sucked, girl, it's going to be better next time. That's how practice happens. And that's how confidence grows. It's practice. But if you're not practicing the things on a daily, you can't get mad at what you're not giving consistent effort to. Income producing is, it's not like, hey, I get to choose which ones I get to do on a daily and that's what's going to work to build my business. No. Income producing activities is doing all the things that you need to be doing on a daily so that effort compounds. The day you plant the seed is not the day you harvest. So if you're not harvesting anything and planting and watering and nurturing, how is anything supposed to grow? Takes consistency. So I hope that helped. Payday is in 4 minutes, which I just want to wish you guys. Okay, we're gonna talk real quick because I need y'all to just hear me out. My first check was $30. Yeah, some people give up because of that. Some people say, "I only made $30 this week." Girl, times that by 4. Times that by what you didn't have. Times that by the momentum and consistency that you're building to get to the income that you think you deserve. It starts in here. So be grateful for where you're at and where you're going. So that's what I had to say about payday, because I want you all to go into payday so freaking excited, so thankful, so gratitude filled, so joyful filled for that $5, $10, $10,000, $1,000, $500, whatever it is. That is a reflection of this and what you're serving. So if you're not happy with your Tuesday check, guess what? You have the power of rewriting that next Tuesday. That's what I have to say on that, because I am going to do that part as a leader and say that. I want you to focus on the joy and the gratitude. Your mindset is either owning you or you're owning it. You're either a firefighter or a fire starter. And if you don't know that analogy, I'll talk about that later. But I love you all. Have a beautiful, beautiful day. My inbox is always open if you guys need anything. And I hope that you guys go into today even further, since it's like noon for all of us, with clarity and intention and growth and perseverance. Have a beautiful day, you guys.